My name is Shari, Alyse, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Even more excited for my guests. But before we dive into that, say hello. Let me know that you're here and you're watching. Hi, you guys. Also, share. Just immediately hit share. You don't even need to hear anything more except to know that this is going to be one of the most inspiring things that you need to hear right now at this present moment in time. So I just want to say this. I don't know how many of you guys have heard the line, change your thoughts, change your life. I've heard it all the time, and it makes perfect sense, but then I often wonder, well, okay, how do you do that? I know so many of us wonder how to change your thoughts and your mindset. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you the most amazing man who has not only taught people and teaching people how to do it, but obviously started with himself. But before we get into that, my name again is Shari Alyse. I am an international motivational speaker. I'm also a best-selling author of the book Love Yourself Happy, and I'm also a self-love and joy coach. Hey Juanita, hey Abdul, hey guys, welcome Jody. So excited to have you guys here. I wanted to talk about everyday heroes for just a quick moment, because the way that this all came together honestly was divine timing. I've wanted to do the show Everyday Heroes for a long time. And for me, what a hero is, beyond right now in the current situation we are in with COVID-19, and our heroes being our frontline workers, being first responders, being our delivery drivers, being our grocery store clerks, those to me are everyday heroes. So beyond the military, beyond, police and fire, I always thought people who have learn to take a situation in their life and learn how to navigate through it. Some people say overcoming these challenges, but our guest today has a different viewpoint on overcoming challenges. So Sourena Vasseghi reached out to me out of nowhere and talked about us collaborating together on something. And it was right then in that moment that I knew that Everyday Heroes had to be born. I was waiting until I got on the road to travel, because that's how I saw it, was me going around the country interviewing everyday heroes. But as soon as he reached out to me, I was like, this is it. This is where you begin. So, hey guys, thanks everybody for joining in. So let me just share with you a little bit about them. And them, you'll find out why. Known as the speaker who can't speak and the writer who can't write, Sourena Vasseghi thrives in life even though he has a severe case of cerebral palsy that requires him to use a wheelchair and speak with the mother of all impediments. Unable to find a job after graduating from the University of Southern California, Sourena didn't just give up and quit. Instead, he decided to hire himself. Using the lessons gleaned from years of maneuvering through an able-bodied world, Sourena set out to motivate, inspire, and help others live out their best possible lives. This led to the founding of the Sourena V Group, books, speeches, a blog, online classes, and coaching. Today, Sourena, the owner and founder of the Sourena V Group, is an entrepreneur, a husband and father who, through his own determination, is living his best life. Sourena, along with his stage partner, Chris Stevenson, has inspired Pete Carroll, Super Bowl winning coach of the Seattle Seahawks, and Peter Bose from BBC Capital. He's worked with the University of Southern California, ESPN, Smith Barney, and more. Chris Stevenson is an international speaker and founder of Stevenson Consulting, a full-service consulting firm based in Westlake Village here in California. His current focus is to help businesses and entrepreneurs of all types maximize potential. His expertise stems from his past hands-on experience in all aspects of the health club industry. For almost 20 years, Chris and his team successfully owned and operated Stevenson Fitness, a full-service boutique health club here in Southern California. Chris has the unique ability to instantly connect with people and to present viable, applicable lectures that resonate with every audience. Y'all, it's Southern Liam Country. Y'all, I'm so excited to introduce you to Sourena and Chris. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Shari. How are you?
I'm so good. You have no idea how excited I am that both of you could be here with us today.
Thank you for having him come on and be a speaker.
Absolutely. So let's just dive right in, because I'm a yapper and I've already talked way too much, and everybody's here to hear about you and your story and about how we can take this current situation that we're in right now and not have to be stuck in fear and not have to be stuck in this mindset. But before we dive into those keys that you're going to share with us about mindset and give away a book, by the way, guys, at the end. So stay tuned. Denise is here, by the way. Lark's here. Drew's here. Okay. All right. So I get excited when we see people. I want to know. Let's talk about the obvious in the room. How did you get cerebral palsy, and how do you navigate and live with that each and every day?
I was born in Iran.
Oh, he was born in Iran.
And when I was born, the doctor went home to get some sleep.
When he was born, the doctor had gone home to get some more sleep.
When you go back, trying to get ready.
And when he got back, it was too late, and he didn't have the proper time to get ready and prepare.
So I wasn't breathing for 10 minutes.
So Sourena wasn't breathing for 10 minutes when he was born.
And then 18 months later, my mother took me to California.
So at 18 months, his parents took him to a hospital in Southern California. You said he graduated from USC. The hospital was at the other school in Westwood, so he refuses to say it.
Got it.
My friends,
Your parents thought you were going to have surgery.
Yeah, but instead, they said I would never live a normal life.
So that's when they figured out that the lack of oxygen had caused the cerebral palsy, and doctors said to him and his parents that he will never live a normal life.
And they were right, because I live an extraordinary one.
And they were right, because he lives an extraordinary one. And what's it like living with cerebral palsy?
It sucks.
It sucks.
What do you want me to say? I love it.
What did you want me to say? I love it. It's the best thing ever. You got to try this out.
And this is why I love having you here for many reasons, but one is the sense of humor and the fact that there's no bullshit, that the fact that somebody can be like, well, it's a blessing, and and it's amazing, and I've learned so much, which I'm sure you've learned much, but thank you for being just truthfully honest about it.
Yeah, no, it's shining, but I'm in the best of every situation.
It's very challenging, but he's living the best life he can.
I see that. When you approached me, Sourena, it was immediately, I went, of course, to your website, and I looked and I thought, this is somebody who has taken a circumstance in their life and has not fallen into the victim mentality, who has chosen to, which I'm sure at some point, because none of us are perfect, I'm sure there was emotional challenges and struggles to get to the point where you say, this is the way things are, and I'm going to push through and move through and make the best life possible.
Yeah, it's never perfect. It's never perfect.
He said, yeah, and it's never perfect.
Every day my disability annoys me.
Every day his disability annoys him.
And
some days it annoys him more than others.
Every day my own disability is annoying me. So, and that's what I find in this truly, is that whether it's physical or emotional, we all have challenges, we all have something, and it's about literally, well, I'm not going to share my insights on mindset, because you are the expert here, and that's why we're here, but I genuinely want to say that it's inspiring that you can be so honest about it, and you let people know that it's okay to have crappy days and that it's not all going to be perfect. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. But every time the other people have.
Oh, he said, by the way, I also have all the challenges that other people have. Insecurities, fear.
Motivation.
Needing more motivation.
Yeah. I deal with that every day.
He deals with that every day.
Every day I have these handicaps.
And everything, so he's the same thing as everybody else goes through, all those things, and then couple it with the handicap.
Yeah, listen, I have the challenges that all of us have, the majority of us, without your additional ones. And like I told you guys before we came on air, is that, you know, no matter how many times I do this, I still want to throw up. And that's because of my own challenges that I deal with, this idea of perfectionism and it having to go perfectly and what, you know, so I understand that and I respect that so much. I wanted to ask really quickly, because about you two. You two have a very special relationship. And for those of you who are wondering, because I know that I am, how did you guys get together, first of all? And then how did you learn to begin to understand with the speech impediment? And at this point, I know these are 3 questions, so you can tell me, ask me what the heck I'm saying, even though if I don't remember. But when does it become Sourena, what he's saying? Or like you just know him so well that you know like everything?
Or yeah,
So prior to doing international speaking and consulting, I was a health club owner and operator, and Sourena was one of our members.
And every time, so I still get in the, I would get up front in the now in the classes room.
So Sourena, every time he would be in there, and by the way, he won't say this because he doesn't like to brag, but when he was in there working out, his goal was to be able to pull himself out of his chair himself, go over some steps, hit the floor, and then go back and get back in his chair. And he did it, and it was very motivating and inspiring, especially for, you know, just our general members and our staff. Everybody loved having him around.
And every time in there, you come chat. It was how you doing?
So he's so I say every time he would work out, I'd come in and just be like, "Hey, how you doing? How are things going?"
And then I was looking for stage partner.
And it's at the time, Sourena was looking for a new stage partner.
And at the time, I had no idea. Conversation with him.
At that time, we had a lot of conversations.
Yeah. You know what? I like an energy. And I could ask Chris.
Yeah, he said he liked my energy. Thank you. And he's like, I guess I could ask Chris.
And your mustache.
Yeah, no, this is a COVID-19 mustache. It is gone the day the stay-at-home is lifted.
I just wanted to let everybody know that too, because they might have been wondering as well.
Yes, yeah, this is purely to annoy my family.
Yeah, and
yeah, so he always tells, he's like, so he, you know, said to me, would you be interested in doing keynote presentations with me on stage? And he said, the look that I gave him was like, maybe cerebral palsy does affect his mind. How could this be possible?
No, I'm going. I emailed videos. I love it.
Yeah, and he had sent me a bunch of videos from some of his speaking events, and I instantaneously was all in on that. And I had done some speaking myself. I had also, it wasn't in my bio, but I was on the faculty at the California Health and Longevity Institute. So we did a lot of executive wellness. So I was very fascinated because we did a lot of mindset studies, a lot of effective communication skills and those sort of soft skills. And so when Sourena had mentioned some of his topics, it was right down my alley because I had a decent background, but then getting the chance to work with somebody like Sourena is just absolutely fascinating. And I thought, wow, not only can we have a great time, I'm going to be a student while I'm helping him do his job. And it's been an incredible experience. I'm grateful for that.
I imagine. And if you're ever sick, just let me know. Cause I thought that when he reached out, I was like, is he looking for a stage partner? Not to take your job away, Chris. I'm messing with you guys. So Denise says, thank you, Sourena, for sharing your story. You're so very brave, and she's proud of you. So I want to move on to, because you mentioned about speaking, and you mentioned, and we talked about your coaching and writing books. The thing that I find so motivating about your story is that not only have you chosen a life where you wanted to be successful and you chose to get into that mindset of success, but you chose one that literally put a spotlight right on you. Like, you could have been successful in any arena, but you chose to go on stages. You chose to write books about it. So talk to me about that journey a little bit, because I know that it must not have always been easy to.
I'm pushing with the talk. I'm pushing with the talk. I'm pushing with the talk.
You're persistent?
Pushing.
Persian?
Yeah.
Oh, he said he's Persian.
Yeah. No, I'm left. I was inspiration. On my left, I was inspiration.
All your life you were
Told I was inspiration.
all his life he was told he was an inspiration.
And I never speaking college. I did it in writing college. I loved it.
And he took a speech and writing classes in college, and he just loved it.
So when I can get a job, I'm like, when I do that,
When he realized he couldn't get a normal job,
yeah.
he said, I want to do that.
Yeah. So if I'm more than a friend, if I'm more than a friend,
You found your why, and that was it?
yeah.
What I love that I read in your book is that you wanted to find an alternative to blaming your handicap. And so you went on basically an adventure to, as you said, to find a needle in a haystack and to find what that alternative was. And it sounds like that this might have been it, or it was about mindset. So you could just talk a little bit about this needle in the haystack.
Well, the way to find a needle in a haystack is to create a magnet and have it come out.
So the way to find a needle in a haystack is to create
A magnet.
a magnet
And send it out.
and make it come out.
Yeah. And I do that.
He does a lot. Summarize it. He does a lot of research.
I read books. I went to conferences.
Read books. Go to conferences.
Talk to people.
Talk to people.
Like you on Facebook.
Stalking people on Facebook, like you.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, and the reason why I asked that is because when we are going to talk about everybody, we're going to talk about mindset here in just a second. I know I'm just so, I was telling them beforehand that we have to keep this short, and I'm just like so intrigued by the whole entire story that, talking about all this. But what I find and what I'm intrigued by is this idea that, mindset is that, we're going to talk about that, but is that something that is inherited, or is that something you work at? Because I can't imagine that you always felt this way with cerebral palsy, that, you were just going to go and make a success of yourself. Were there emotional challenges and struggles along the way in dealing with this?
Okay, mindset is not binary.
Mindset is not binary.
Yeah. It's always evolving.
It's always evolving.
And no, very people what it is.
Very few people really know what it is.
Yeah. And it's something that evolves over time.
It evolves over time.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about the light switch moment with going to USC?
Okay, so when I was younger, my handicap was not different.
So he said when he was younger, his handicap wasn't that different.
Can you get into that?
Yeah, he said, can I get into that? This was very fascinating as I got to know Sourena, because, you see the situation and you assume your whole life is completely different. And he's like, no, as a kid, everybody's parents took them to the park. Everybody's parents, cared for him, cooked him dinner, and did all of those things. So he's like, really, as a youth, he didn't feel that different. Yeah, he was in a chair and needed some help, but it never felt that different. And to me, I was like, wow, I would have thought it always felt different. And then he said, even into high school, he was, put in all the main regular classes and things like that. So it was pretty similar. Except PE.
Right.
They were afraid he was going to run someone over.
I said PE just because I was too lazy. Sorry, Chris. I know you're in the fitness industry.
So when I went to community college.
So he went to community college.
I was okay with that. My family to go to college, my parents.
So he said he was okay with that, community college, go to somewhere just near his parents' house.
My buddy, like going to USC. My buddy was USC.
So a bunch of his friends went to USC.
I wanted to call me. And I go, I was USC, and they were like,
So one day his friend called him and he said, "Hey, how's USC?" And his friend was like, "Oh my gosh, it's incredible.
I wish you were here.
I wish you were here."
I got the phone.
So he talked to him for about a half an hour, about how great this USC experience was, and then they got off the phone.
And I was crying.
And they just started crying.
Because I got 100% screwed over by my handicap.
So he started crying and he said, "Why do I have to be so screwed over by my handicap?"
My dad came over to me and said, "What's wrong?"
His dad came over to him and said, "What's wrong?"
I could only see one thing, and one thing was I'm going to USC.
And at that moment, the switch flipped and he said, "I'm going to USC."
And I didn't say I want to go. I didn't say, can I go? I'm going.
Yeah, so he didn't say, "I'd like to go, I want to go." He just said, "I'm going." And what'd your dad think?
My dad thought it was crazy.
His dad thought he was crazy.
And when he found out, he knew so.
Oh, and he goes, and then when he found out how much it cost, he knew he was crazy. But Sourena will tell you with that story, that was sort of the light switch moment. He still had no idea how he was going to make this happen. He just knew that he was. And that was when he started really to focus on that mindset development and getting to a place mentally where he was going to make this happen.
Nothing has changed. Except one thing. My mindset.
Yeah, he said after the call, nothing really changed other than his mindset.
I just, all of us, we're all dealing with really crazy circumstances right now. And I know that people are living in fears and they're living anxiety. And there's a lot of people just getting stuck in this right now. And so to hear about you, Sourena, that this has been your entire life, to have to learn how to navigate and deal with challenges and to show up every single day, to make the choice to push through and to become successful in your life and to not give into what you call or what's called a handicap. I don't even know the right word to say, just so I apologize if it's, you know what I'm saying. So I want everybody to find out what you did. And so when we talk about mindset, first I want you to define for me, what is mindset? When I think about mindset, it's like you think about positive or negative. You gotta have a positive, mindset, but most of us don't really know, first of all, how to have a positive mindset, like what are the actual steps involved, but then also what is really mindset?
Well, it is because even mathematics for 5 years. Mathematics over 5 years.
Oh, he said Chris calls me the master of mindset for about 5 years.
Define
it?
No, we did not define it.
Oh, we did not define it.
Yeah, but now I define it. The way you go through.
The way you go through life.
The way you go through life. The way you go through life.
The way you go through obstacles.
The way you deal with challenges,
The way you deal with challenges.
the way you deal with others,
The way you deal with others.
the way you day.
The way you go about your day.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing about Sourena too, and I made this mistake one time speaking with him. I was actually caught in the moment on stage, and I was just thinking about, it was one of our first times, and I was just blown away because even though I knew him, it was just to be up there, and I kind of rattled off a list of his accomplishments, and I looked over at him on stage, and I said to him, the famous word that I will never say again, I said, "It's amazing how you've overcome your handicap." To which he said,
I didn't overcome anything.
"I didn't overcome anything.
I didn't have it.
I'm still handicapped."
We don't overcome challenges. We deal with it.
We don't overcome challenges, we deal with them.
And so right now, we want to overcome COVID-19.
Right now, we want to instantly overcome COVID-19.
And that's the news. Because it's not realistic. It's not realistic.
It's not really,
Realistic.
it's not realistic to overcome COVID-19.
How do we improve our lives? Improve our lives
How do we improve our life
and do what we want.
and do what we want
And do with COVID-19.
and deal with the COVID-19
Yeah.
and all the stuff that happens after? It's not like a light switch, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot to deal with.
My grandkids are going to be off
Your grandkids are going to
be out the
still be in debt?
yeah.
Hopefully not.
Right, exactly. I think that's such an important thing to point out, is about the challenges. And I know that, just to give a hint, that's one of your mindset is dealing with them. I think it's so important as a self-love coach that we talk about, because the disappointment involved when you realize that you're not overcoming them, that you're still dealing with them. As someone who's dealt with weight challenges my entire life, it doesn't just disappear. Like, I don't suddenly, just because, I've lost weight or I'm healthier now, it doesn't mean that I don't stop thinking about, like, maybe I shouldn't have that other slice of pizza or the whole pie. So
Yep.
It's learning how to accept it and navigate it is what I'm hearing.
Because those are good. Finishing the shoot, it's okay with us. He was never drowned.
Yeah, he was. There's another thing he would say on stage too, because when he said that, the overcome thing, I said, I really like that. It's got kind of caught in the moment, and he goes, "Of course you do. You work in health and fitness. If people overcame weight loss, you'd be completely out of work."
Right.
So and I'm like, yes, you're right. They just continue to deal with it. So
Right. All right, awesome. So I'm just gonna, because I'm looking at the time and I'm like, oh boy, I'm gonna have us dive into these keys to mindset, because like I said, it is so important that you speak about mindset, and we all know about having a great mindset, but we don't know how to go about doing that or maintaining that. So I would love for you to share with our audience here, who have some really funny things happening here in the chat that you guys will be able to go to later. Drew wants to know if you have sexy ladies that put on suntan lotion when you go to the beach. You don't have to answer that, but.
well, he will. He does, and it's what he calls playing the handicap card.
I love it. I'm coming to hang out with you guys. Through social distancing, I'm coming over. I'm just kidding, everybody. So all right, so why don't you
We got to hang out. Oh, as soon as this thing's over.
Oh, look, Diane says, wow, talk about a mindset master and a great sense of humor as well. Yes, so love it. Why don't you share with us? I'd love for you to be able to let us know what you believe are the 5 keys to mastering, let's just say, mindset.
The first one is rewriting your narrative.
The second one is rewriting your narrative. The story that we tell ourselves. The story that we tell ourselves.
That's where. That's the story. Our narrative is the story we tell ourselves.
And if we the narrative is how much money we can make. How much money we can make.
It dictates how much money we can make.
Who we trust.
Who we trust.
Politics.
Politics.
The story that we tell ourselves about success.
Every factor of success is defined by your narrative.
Yeah. And if we want to the narrative has to evolve.
And if we want to achieve goals, the narrative has to evolve.
There are 2 ways to do that.
And there are 2 ways to do that.
Information diet.
Oh, your information diet.
And the people that we hang out with the most.
And the people that we hang out with the most.
Yeah.
And with the rewriting your narrative, and Sourena once said this to me, he said, my story was fine. I could have been the guy with cerebral palsy who lives kind of a normal life and is happy, and no one would have ever been mad or be like, hey, how come you didn't achieve more? That was the narrative he was given, right? And he took, used his positive growth mindset to decide, no, I'm going to rewrite that story. And then he talks about information diet, by the stuff that you read and the stuff that you take in, and then the people that he surrounds himself with. So putting together a team and learning from mentors and those sort of things to help him rewrite the story, that story leads him to the accomplishments that he's had.
Yeah, what information are you doing right now?
Oh yeah, even right now, what information are you taking in during this situation? Yeah, are you reading books or are you glued to the TV?
Yeah,
Important.
yeah.
I think that the information diet was something I learned from him too. It's just, there's certain people that watch the 24 hours of COVID coverage and you become obsessed with it, and it does end up holding you back. So, setting rules, saying, what, I want to read my 2 COVID articles every morning when I wake up because we need the information, but you don't overwhelm yourself with what can be a lot of negative information that slows you down.
For every negative.
Oh, right. So for every negative, you need 3 positives
Yeah.
to offset that.
Yeah.
So the more you can take away the negatives, the easier it is to be positive.
Yeah.
Even in a bad situation.
I think rewriting your narrative is so important, because I think most of us hold on to it like it's part of who we are. Well, this is my story and this is the way that it is, and this is the way, money's hard to come by, or I just can't do this or I can't do that. And so this idea of rewriting it is the tip that you're giving. A way to start rewriting it is by choosing these positives over the negative. To start reframing.
There's only getting a social network.
That's the one way, and the other is get the right people in your network.
Beautiful. I love that.
And
So we'll take, just so everybody knows here, we're going to take questions at the end. If you have any specifics that you want to ask Sourena, we will be going into that. And then as well as he's going to be giving away his book about the amazing keys to mindset. So you're going to be able to get all of this, all that he's sharing. His book is amazing, by the way. I keep using amazing because it's true, but it's powerful. I've read it. It's filled with insight and wisdom. So you guys definitely want to stick around. Share with us, please, your mindset number 2, key number 2.
Developing habits. I mean, the word thing about it is not about the action itself.
It's not about the act itself.
It's everything around the actions.
It's everything
around actions.
Around actions.
What you the cues.
The cues?
Yeah, and the rewards. And the rewards.
The cues and rewards of habits?
Yeah. Habits are everyday actions.
Habits are the everyday actions that you have to take to get to your goals.
If you want to improve your habits and routines.
If you want to improve your life, you have to improve your habits and your routines.
Can you get into it more?
Oh, get into it more?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ren is very big on habits, and interesting what he learned from having the disability is he had to be extremely regimented with a strong set of habits that are always executed. And so, just to simply exist, let alone be as successful as he's become. So we were doing something earlier this week or last week, and he was talking about, here's the upside to COVID, right? You have time to develop new habits, to eliminate bad habits. So doing sort of a daily calendar, he always recommends doing a daily calendar, exactly what you're doing, and then looking through that at the end of each day going, which of these things took me towards my goal, which held me back, and then you make adjustments, to try to get rid of the stuff that's negative, do more of the positive, and then what's missing, and then you start to just really calendar and stay regimented and stick to those habits. And the other thing he said is, with habits, sometimes it's not necessarily fun. It's, hey, I'm going to spend an hour prospecting, or I'm going to spend an hour doing these emails or whatever. And then some parts are really fun, but regardless of the level of enjoyment, if it's necessary, it's got to become a habit and something that you always do.
And the best to do the habit is not in your routine.
Oh, and the best way to develop bad habits is to not be in your routine.
Good or bad. Good or bad. Good or bad. Good or bad.
Good or bad.
The best time to do the habits are when life is not rich.
So good or bad, the best time to deal with habits is to deal with it when life is
Up in the air.
up in the air.
Mm.
Stuck in routine.
Because you're not stuck in a typical routine.
So the key really, I want to read a book.
The key,
You want to read in a book.
you learn,
You want to read in a book.
you want to write in a book. Oh, the key, you want to write a book.
Do something now.
Oh, if you've always wanted to write a book, now's the time.
Right. I know for myself that when I choose to stick to something that I call them small promises, small daily promises that I do, I know that when I choose them and I follow through with them, it's so true about our mindset. Well, first you have to have the mindset to do it, but also the way that you feel afterwards. It just motivates you to do it even more. So this idea of creating these habits and then of course sticking to them, I think would automatically catapult you into next level thinking even.
Yeah, and one thing, just to add to that a little bit, when I worked at the California Health and Longevity Institute, we focused on habits, whether it was diet, exercise, communication skills, and it's to take small incremental steps.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than necessarily going, I got to change, like with fitness is such a tangible example. If somebody wants to eat better, as the trainer, the hero goes, okay, from now on, chicken breast, broccoli, that's it every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're going to have. And everybody fails, right? Instead, say, how about this? Add an apple a day for 2 weeks. And once that's a habit, then let's get rid of one soda a day. So with all this habit formation on the tactical side, it's really about, it's this combination of small change, because then you get the victory, you're more successful, you feel better, and you are legitimately making progress.
Powerful. I think small steps is, well, it'll get you to your goal.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying, you don't give up because they're actually doable.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right.
Habits are in subconscious.
Habits end up in your subconscious.
Yeah. We get out of the subconscious.
And you got to get it out of the subconscious in order to make changes.
Yeah.
That's why that daily journal is such a powerful tool, because you might not even realize that you've spent 3 hours on Facebook until you're like, oh, wow.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. I mean, this is a good hour.
Right. Of course it is. Yeah, no, it's so true. Anytime that you're conscious about anything that you're doing, you become more aware of, what you're doing, and then you're able to transform that because of your own awareness. So Powerful tip. All right. So share with us your third key to amazing mindset.
Well, I'm not going to believe about this, but I'm going to do my best. I don't know credibility about this one. I have no credibility.
Oh, he has no credibility in this one, but he's going to do his best.
Your time.
Dealing with challenges.
Challenges are a part of life.
Challenges are a part of life.
And the other challenges are a part of life. Dealing with them is crucial for success.
And dealing with them is crucial for success.
And there are two challenges.
There are two kinds of challenges.
Challenges are there. Challenges are there.
Challenges that are there.
And challenges that you take on.
And challenges that you take on.
Yeah, nobody told me that I read a book. Nobody told me that I didn't become a speaker.
Nobody taught him how to write a book, or nobody taught him how to become a speaker.
Yeah. but I took on a challenge.
But he took on that challenge.
And it's really sad that challenges happen.
You just got to accept the challenges are going to happen.
Yeah, even COVID-19. It's everybody. They deal with it.
Yeah, even during the COVID-19, there are sacrifices that you're making that you have to in order to deal with it.
Yeah.
I think that's so important to recognize because, like we said before, if you keep thinking that you have to overcome everything, it makes it almost seem insurmountable to have to overcome anything. So to understand that it's okay that you're going to just keep dealing with it and navigating through it, like this circumstance. People who keep resisting and just want it to go away, they're going to have a harder time doing it than ones who are like, okay, this is the way that it is, and how am I going to choose to move forward and move through?
Yep.
And then when you don't stop blaming everything on this time.
Oh, and one thing that Sorena's really big on is he said, stop blaming everything on this time. It's impacting us for sure. But if you sit there and you say, well, it's just COVID, then you're almost not taking the responsibility that you still need to take action, different kind of action because of the circumstance to get where you want to go.
Absolutely. I love that. Joanne says choice. Yes. I mean, that's ultimately what we have right now. It's that either, like you said, you can either be victim to your disability or your life, to COVID, to anything, or you can choose differently.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the keys too, is the wording is important, right? The way we think about things. Is it a problem or a challenge? And if you use the word challenge, that means, oh, this is something we have to solve. If it's a problem, that tends to be just using that word shuts you down mentally. So that's bad for your mindset. So it's always a challenge. It's not a problem. And
I do that with, and so that's part of my vocabulary is challenge, but also I've always taken obstacle and, as popular, and turn it into opportunity.
Yep.
How can we learn here? How can we become better and braver and bolder and more courageous from this?
Right.
And you give it that one. You
have challenge.
Give you a chance.
Oh, this gives you a chance to mourn.
Yeah. Get to work.
Right, but you just get back to work.
Yeah.
So what he's saying with challenges, right? They pop up. You still gives you a chance that you're allowed to say it sucks. You're allowed to say this is awful, but you give it that little bit of energy, and then your energy goes into dealing with that challenge.
It's so important to acknowledge that I have a chapter in my book, and I'm not tossing my book out there, but it's called "This Shit Sucks." But it's true. It's the acknowledgement of it, because if you keep acting like, number one, it doesn't exist, it's going to keep showing up. But if you just, like you're saying, acknowledge it, it's there, and then how do I work through it?
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to San Diego with him. I was going to San Diego with him. I'm going to have a good time, and we can go.
Right. Yeah, I was doing a big event in San Diego, and Sourena was going to come listen to me speak, which would be cool. And then he's like, and then we had planned a couple extra days just to kick it in San Diego, and can't do it. Oh well, we were both bummed, but then you move on. What's next?
Right. Exactly. Love it. All right. Share with us your next key.
Number 4.
Engage others.
Engage others.
Yeah, you got
So he said number 4 is engaging with others, and the first part of that is building a network.
Yeah, I recruited Chris. I recruited you.
He recruited me.
I recruited Shari. Shari to get that.
You're always recruiting team members.
Yeah. There's stuff they can't do. There's stuff they can't do. There's stuff that somebody else could help you with.
Yeah, there's some stuff that you just can't do. So you got to put people in your network that can do that stuff.
Yeah, with my team, I cannot speak.
Right. Without my help, he couldn't speak.
Yeah.
It's job security, by the way.
You're like, never mind. It's very funny. I think what you're saying, or what I'm hearing, is that who you choose to surround yourself with, your tribe, your community, is so important for your mindset. Because if you're around people that are negative, or you're around people, you know, who blame or don't accept responsibility, that it affects who you are. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, and get help, or get all kinds of help,
Get all kinds of help.
If you have a psychological barrier, get a therapist.
If you have a psychological barrier, get a therapist.
If you don't work out, get a trainer.
If you don't want to work out, get a trainer.
Yeah.
And I think one thing to add, I had the chance to work with Dr. Robert Maurer. He was a PhD and a brilliant guy, and he wrote a book called Mastering Fear. And he basically boils it down to fears because of three things. One, you don't have self-worth, like you don't feel like you're good enough. Two, something's out of your control. Or three, it's unknown, right? So those really, if you look at anything holding you back that causes fear, it's one of those three things. And then in the book, he goes on to say, and how do most people deal with that? Anger, they ruminate, drugs, those are things. And he said, the number one simple solution is reach out for support. That's the best thing you can do. So with Sourena, you know, when things are challenging, reach for support, maximize your own strengths, then find teammates who fill the gaps of your weaknesses.
I love that. That's so powerful, because I think, first of all, it takes a stronger person to reach out. I loved that he reached out to you guys. I love, Sourena, that you reached out to me just to be able to do this. I was so inspired by that. I was like, this got more.
I do have to tell you something about Sourena. The first time we went to an event together where we were in the audience, there was a great speaker, good information. I'm like, all right, let's go. And he's like, go, just wait. And I was like, for what? He's like, follow me. And he just wheelchaired, rolled right down to the front, right up to the speaker. And he's like, hey, I got a bunch of questions for you. So he is relentless about building his network. And some of these speakers have become some of his closest friends. So it's kind of a lesson for me, you know. And most people like to help, right? When people call you and ask you for help, most people like to give back and help. So just reach out and ask. And
every industry is small. Every industry is so small.
Oh, every industry is really small.
Yeah, you can meet the best.
You can meet the best.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah.
Diane says, when you have a great network, you have leverage, and your network will help you get where you want to go.
Yep.
It'll fill in the gap.
And it fills in your gaps.
Yeah.
Because we can't do it all, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, if you want to. I want to do it all, but I just can't. And I'm not good at it all. All right. So we've talked about rewriting your narrative. You talked about developing habits, dealing with challenges, engaging others. Share with us, Sourena, your brilliant, because they've all been brilliant so far, last key to mindset.
Clarity.
Know what you want, know who you are, knowing all the next steps.
So clarity is knowing who you are, knowing what you want, why you want it, and then what steps to take.
And then who you need to be.
And who you need to be. So what narrative you need to rewrite.
And you know what? You need self-love. You need self-love.
You need self-love?
Yeah. You need to know who you are, who you are not.
You need to know who you are and who you are not.
And love that no matter what. And love that no matter what.
And love that no matter what.
Mm. It's so important what you're saying, because I think a lot of us, I know I used to go through life unconsciously, not really doing what you're saying, like understanding who I was, what my core values are, what my beliefs are, and being super clear on that. And when we take the time to become clear on that, I think we just ultimately make better choices in our lives. We know what feels good and what aligns with us and what doesn't.
So one day, Chris told me, hey, bro, you need to define correct.
Oh, yeah. Sorena's always been a very shotgun style thinker and speaker. So we'd come in and he'd say, okay, I have 50 new ideas. This was earlier in the company. And I'm like, no. And he's like, I sit in this chair all day and think of all these things. I'm like, that's great. Take the 3 most important ones. And then we really spent a lot of time developing core values and a mission and a vision and a purpose. And then that helped them refine that shotgun approach into more of a sniper, where now he's much more laser focused and targeted on what he does.
If you don't do that, you get stranded a lot.
If you don't do that, you get stranded a lot.
Yeah. Because you always thinking what the next. But if you do that, everything, it's easier.
Yeah, if you define everything, it just becomes easier. So having a clear vision, mission, purpose, and values dictates the steps you take and what you're going to do.
Even when you hire something new, what imagine?
So when you want to hire somebody or add somebody new to your team, imagine who they are and who they are not.
Yeah, what skills? What values?
What values?
What skills?
What skills?
Yeah.
Hire based on values, because you can train some other stuff.
Yeah. Because when I could me the thing I could really understand or not.
When he asked me to speak with them, the last thing he was concerned about was whether I could understand him or not.
That thing, it will come.
He's like, that will come.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if it didn't, he will not be doing it anyway. If it didn't, he will not be doing it anyway.
Right. So yeah, again, I was the right fit for his energy, the culture of his company, and learned how to interpret just because it just took some practice.
Yeah.
And I think if you didn't have clarity about yourself, Sourena, and the things that you wanted and how you show up for life and everything, you wouldn't have been able to. It's like all of these keys kind of all just work together. You wouldn't have been able to engage and attract the right kind of people without being clear about who you are, without knowing that, your challenges, knowing what they are and navigating through them, saying that this sucks. I want to just say really quickly, because when you mentioned about being in the chair all day and your mind, you have all this time to think. Like, I literally would stab myself. And the reason why is because I'm saying that because I have all this time to think, but I can physically get up and go do things to distract and avoid, and like that a lot of us do. And so I think more than anybody, you have had to learn how to deal with this and walk through it, navigate it, because you're in it all the time. There is no, you can't just pick up a phone and scroll like all of us can. It's so important.
No, every handicap time right now. Everybody's in handicap time right now.
He said everybody's in handicap time right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yes, absolutely.
I like to go fast.
He likes to go fast.
I can't.
And he can't.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
None of us can, right?
By the way, I noticed that Diane said great advice on hiring. Diane, one extra little tidbit that I do with a lot of companies, and it's a very simple one. When you hire, it's either a hell yeah or a hell no. Right? So if somebody doesn't wow you enough that you're like, oh, I got to hire this person, right? Or if you don't like the word hell, people will say a yes is a yes, a no is a no, and a maybe is a no. Because what you'll find is that when you think of the last person you hired, and you were like, I think they'll probably be fine. They're never fine, right? And you know how hard it is to get somebody off your team. So that hell yeah, hell no approach is really good for hiring as well. So just
yeah, no, that's a great tip. So we are nearing the end of the hour here right now. And I know, Sourena, that you have gifted everybody here a special gift. So why don't you just tell us quickly about what everybody is getting just for being here? And I'm putting the link in the comments.
I'm going to give fucking my ebook.
He's going to give everybody a copy of his ebook.
And then I'm gonna give you all the 7 days of inspiration.
And he's also going to give everybody 7 days of inspiration.
Yeah. And know about me, you get to know Chris. You get to know about,
Oh, he said you'll get to know more about Sourena and more about myself.
yeah.
And there's so much more to know. You have these other books as well as where are we at? These other books as well as the ebook that you're giving away. And I just want to say, guys, like if you were even like slightly inspired by this conversation today, your mind, Sourena, is brilliant. I read it all and I was like, and while they're concepts that a lot of us know, your insight into them is unlike others. And it had me thinking in a way that I don't normally. So I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing in the world and just showing up through your challenges, through the shitty, sucky situations, and just showing up and attracting Chris here with that great mustache. I just want to thank you for this work. Honestly, you didn't have to do what you're doing, and you are the walking and talking example of an amazing mindset.
Well, maybe not walking.
We're walking, yes. Good job, Shari. You are the wheeling and talking.
I could
Go down in history. It's the dumbest thing I've ever said.
I could think about everything I couldn't do, or I could think about everything I can do.
He said he could think about everything he couldn't do, or he can think about everything he can do.
Thank you for that. I love that. Please tell us, please tell us how we can stay connected to you. And then I have one last question for you.
Okay, yeah, if you go to cerenav.com.
So the website is sorenav.com.
And then cerenav.com /inspire. I will give you some inspiration.
And if you go to sorenav.com/inspire,
Yeah, I will give you some.
That's where you'll get your 7 days of inspiration. And
a chance to buy my book.
Oh, and a chance to get his books.
Yeah.
And then his email is sorenav.com. And mine is chris@stevensonempowers.com. So you can reach out to us if you have any questions or we can be helpful at all. Happy to help.
And I would love, after this interview is over, that you guys will go into the feed and you'll put those links in there for everybody, because I didn't have them all. So you guys want to put those in so everybody can connect with you guys. I did put the link for the book and to sign up for the 7 days of inspiration. Sourena, I have one question for you, and I like to ask this anytime I've ever done an interview, is if you were given a microphone and the entire world can listen in right now and you had 30 seconds, what is it that you would want to share with the world right now?
Easy.
Easy, he said.
This is amazing time to rethink life.
This is an amazing time to rethink life.
Yeah. Think about what you want, how to get there.
Think about what you want and how to get there.
Use the time that we have. Use the time to have.
Use the time that you have.
Research.
To research.
To learn.
To learn.
To build a network.
And to build a network.
And to look at your habits.
To look at your habits.
Yeah. Right now is a good time to do that.
Right now is a great time to do all that.
You might have everything you want right now.
Think about everything you want right now.
You might have the opportunity. You
might not have the opportunity now.
But you will have the opportunity in the future.
But you will have the opportunity in the future.
You lay the foundation for the success.
But right now, it's the best time to lay that foundation for your success.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. Thank you for showing us all what a real everyday hero looks like. For me, because I think that you've inspired each of us that no matter what it is that we're facing, that we can get through anything, that we can navigate through it, that we might still deal with it, but if we implement your mindset keys, that we can be as amazing as you are, or try to be at least, and hopefully be able to get amazing people like you have surrounding you. Thank you, Chris, so much for being part of this as well and being part of Sorena's life. And Sourena, thank you for reaching out to me. I feel really honored, and I look forward to us all hanging out after all this is, we've moved on to the next level of whatever this is.
Thank you very much. Hang out.
Thank you very much, and looking forward to hanging out.
Thank you all so much for tuning in today to our first episode of Everyday Heroes. Don't forget to go onto Sourena's website, which we'll put there, sourenav.com. Go grab your free book. Go to Chris's website. And then don't forget to join me tomorrow, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern for Story Time with Shari, where we spread a little joy. And just can't wait to hang out with you all again. Thanks so much for just being you. Have a beautiful day, guys. And of course, a beautiful life. Bye, everyone.